It's 11:20 p.m. and I'm getting up to attempt a rim-to-rim hike. As a man, I've been trained to project confidence and competence, but I must admit this morning, I'm full of self-doubt. Any realist of my age acknowledges a degree of frailty. I've watched 20-year-olds on the trail fall, tumble, laugh, get up, and move on. But for me, a fall could mean the end of the hike or send me to the hospital. For years, I've been acknowledging that I'm not as young as I used to be, but this is the first time in my life that I acknowledge being old. I have to be slower and more careful, and to some degree that erodes my masculine self-image. Doing the rim-to-rim hike forces me to acknowledge this. So why do I do the hike? I do it because I'm going to die. Maybe I harp on mortality too much, but I think I do it because so many people deny it. I want to be clear. I love my life. I don't want to leave it, but I'm a realist, and facing that my days are numbered makes those days all the more sweet. And the other side of the coin to acknowledging mortality is celebrating being alive now. I'm still alive and I plan to hike as often as I can for as long as long as health, weather, and finances allow. Hiking rim to rim taxes me to my physical maximum. I have a list of diagnoses that read like a career criminal's rap sheet. At one point in my cancer treatment, I even got a handicap parking placard. I don't use it, but I think of it as my blue badge of courage, recognition for all that I've been through. I've always had a bad back, or at least that's what I called it. But on one of my cancer CT scans, they gave it a more serious name, degenerative disease of the spine. And that's what concerns me today. My back is troubling me, and I'm not sure I'll be able to make the hike. Late hours and self-doubt. That sounds like a good title for a book or a record album. The hike is 23 map miles, or about 30 miles on a fitness tracker, and if I make it, I would like to do it in about 13 hours. That's almost a mile of descent to the river and a mile climb to the North Rim. This video hopefully will be a hybrid of tips, travelogue, and maybe a bit of adventure. But my top priority is the hike. This is the tail that wags my dog. Videos are time-consuming and will take a backseat to me completing this hike. For anything you do repeatedly, there's a first of everything, a best of everything, and a last of everything. And I do these hikes repeatedly. I've already done my first. I may well have done the best. And this could, or any hike could be my last. So it's important to me to get out there and try and to savor the experience. I have a theory, I've watched a bunch of rim to rim to rim videos, that people age 20 years when they do this hike. So take a look at me now, and then take a look when we're done and see if I look like I'm in my 80s when I'm done. And before I hit the trail, my first two tips. First, water availability has been unpredictable this year. 2 weeks ago, I did a training hike, and when I went through Phantom Ranch, they had posted an announcement that water was off from Phantom to North Kaibab Trail. That's about 14 miles without a treated water source. It's important to have the ability to both filter and chemically treat water as livestock frequent these trails. I've not yet had to use these backup water treatment methods, but they're essential to have on the hike. Second, have fixed in your mind your turn-around decision points. One time I hiked to the river, and before the sun was up, it was 86 degrees. I decided I could do the rim to rim to rim, but it just wouldn't be any fun. I went back to the rim and drove in an air-conditioned car to North Rim instead. Know when you'll turn around. The halfway point on the hike, for me at least, is at the end of the box, a few miles north of Phantom Ranch. At this point, it's actually more efficient to walk to the North Rim rather than walk back, especially if you would still need to drive the extra 4 hours to get your non-refundable hotel room on the other rim. So with those first two tips covered, time's a-wasting, and it's time for me to get ready to hit the trail. Wish me luck and good health. I'm continually amazed at how slow I am in the morning, but that's one of the accommodations of the aging process. 1:12, goal of being on the trail at 1:30. I'm going to make that goal. Back is hurting quite a bit. I'm uncertain how far I'll go. I have my turnaround point set in my mind. It's not that cold this morning, although I'm dressed for colder weather. Coming back from North Rim, it'll be below freezing, and I have to carry this stuff anyway, so I might as well use it and be toasty warm in the morning. It's supposed to be 86 degrees at Phantom Ranch today, so I'll be down to shorts and a t-shirt and sweating like a mule. And it's about time to go, so let's start the adventure. The first flush of sun is hitting the canyon walls towards the north rim. 5 hours into the hike, it's been painfully slow. My back is strung tight like piano wires. I've been going ultra slow, slowest I've ever done on this section of the hike. My first decision point at the river is coming up, whether I go back or go forward. I am undecided. This is my self-doubt hike. Headlamps, the Coast headlamp on medium lasted 4.5 hours with Rayovac batteries. The belt lamp, which is essentially a free lamp as I described in my headlamp video, is still running just fine, which would give me more than 5 hours of coverage, but this is all I need. I'll have spare batteries for the return hike. The temperatures are already quite hot, supposed to hit 86 in the inner canyon today. But on the hike back, it's supposed to be below freezing, leaving north rim. So I overdressed a little bit too much this morning, but I will appreciate that on the hike back, if that hike happens. And beautiful morning to hike. The stars were beautiful. The sunrise is beautiful, but it's going to get pretty darn hot soon. Let's keep going. It's 6:53 in the morning. 73 degrees, just had an early lunch, half a sandwich and some watermelon at River Rest House, 8.1 miles in. About 1/3 of the hike is over. I don't want to be whining too much about this back situation, but the problem is this: it's not a little bit of pain that I'm complaining about, but I have a nerve that will pinch and the back will spasm, and at that point I have no choice but just to lie on the ground and moan. Which would pretty much paralyze me in the deep canyon, which I'm very fearful of happening. But there's a counterbalance to this. Time is limited. First, best, and last are an issue. The Park Service has seen fit to close down Bright Angel Trail, my favorite trail, until sometime in 2025. And this may actually be the last time I can hike rim to rim to rim using Bright Angel Trail. Health or circumstances might stop me a year or two in the future. So I'm motivated to keep trying. And my tentative decision now is to go forward. Next decision point is Phantom Ranch. And final decision point is at the end of the box outside of Phantom Ranch. So let's go hiking. One other thing is how essential the poles are. The poles saved me from a fall already on the way down this hike. I could not be a safe hiker without these poles. It's a concession to the aging process, as I've mentioned in my tips for older hikers video and in my hiking poles video as well. My strongest recommendation for people who are seniors who are hikers is to adapt to using the poles. So time to hit the trail. Let's see what happens. It's 7 a.m. at the Colorado River. First rays of the sun are coming directly down the canyon, hitting the canyon walls. What a spectacular morning. Good to be alive. I may be slow, but at least I'm active. About to enter the box. You cross the first bridge over Bright Angel Creek about 20-25 minutes out of Phantom Ranch. This one's a silver one. A lot of them are black. And when you're out of the box, you call one I call the Jungle Bridge because it's overgrown with trees and so forth on the side. Some of the things you can plan on when you're coming through the box and heading for Cottonwood Campground. Winds are supposed to go up to gusts of 50 miles per hour today. The wind is coming down through the box, so it may be hard to record. Hope you'll bear with me in trying to record in these windy situations. and hopefully it won't blow our hats off. Let's have some fun. Second bridge, black. I call this erosion control wall the fortress, and it's the key to turning around to see one of the features of Grand Canyon. We'll see that in just a minute. It's about 1 hour north of Phantom Ranch. Here's the downhill side of the fortress. About a quarter mile beyond the fortress, and 1 hour at my pace from Phantom Ranch. If you turn around, you see this beautiful figure. The source of Phantom for Phantom Ranch is ambiguous. Some people say it's a fleeting shadow that crosses the cliff faces around sunset. But to me, this shapely beauty is the Phantom. And in fact, she resembles quite closely Matsu. So I call her Matsu, the goddess of the Grand Canyon. At my slow pace today, this is an hour and 45 minutes out of Phantom Ranch. This is from the School of Hard Knocks. I call this Breakdown Corner. On my very first rim to rim, I tried to eat more on a normal schedule. That is around 10:30 in the morning. And I hit this point and I had zero energy left. I actually had to sit down on the trail and eat some food to keep going. I've learned since then to front load the calories. I usually have my lunch around 7:30 or 8 in the morning, and I have several other lunches along the way. Breakdown Corner, just about out of the box. There are 4 bridges in the box. The 5th one, Jungle Bridge, is actually your introduction to the box, and it's just a little bit beyond the box. We're about to leave the box now and get a view of North Rim, our eventual goal. This is my final decision point where I say whether I go forward or go back. Of course, at this point, time is in favor of going to North Rim. I'm holding up okay, and I'm going to do my best. Let's get going. In contrast to Breakdown Corner, this shady spot is a great place for a snack. I think we'll have one now. Jungle Bridge is the official end of the box for me. It used to be so overgrown, you had a hard time seeing the bridge itself. They cut it back a couple of years ago, but it's starting to come back. You actually couldn't see the edges of the bridge at one point in time. There was so much undergrowth here. Outside of the box, you get your first view of North Rim, where those sparse trees are on the edge. That's our goal for the day. You also get, most often, full sun, and it gets pretty darn hot. Everyone has a picture of this, but nobody says its name. I have to look it up. This is Split Rock Falls. The wind is whipping through the canyon here, so you probably won't be able to hear me. I'll probably have to jump over this. Split Rock Falls is the last thing you see before you hit Manzanita. From Manzanita, it's 5.1 miles to the top. Many people make the mistake of taking a long break at Manzanita. My recommendation is you get your water and you keep going, because it's the roughest 5.1 miles of the entire trail. At least from Manzanita, you start going up, 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 then you drop down to Great Wall Bridge and go almost straight up on a set of escalators to Supai Tunnel. From Supai to the top, it's not so bad, but by that point you're so exhausted, it's pretty miserable. So about 5.4 miles left in this hike. We're going to keep on going. That's Roaring Springs. The source of water for the Trans Canyon Pipeline provides water for the South Rim and the North Rim. This trail goes up and up and up, and when you think you're done going up, you go up some more. Red Wall area and Supai Tunnel in the distance. The frustrating thing is that these power lines end up at the hotel we're going to. But if you follow the trail and then take the road, it's something like 6.5 miles by trail and road to get there. Crazy routing on this trail. Last year, coming through around this spot, there's a fellow about my age. He was hiking without poles. He fell forward, lost his balance, fell forward, hit his head on a rock, and he was bleeding profusely. The trail crew was working here, and they were already giving him assistance, so I'm not quite sure what happened to him. But I draw a very strong lesson from that, to maintain one's balance, to watch one's step, and to use hiking poles. If you're hiking for the first time on North Kaibab Trail, you go up, 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 and you think you're almost going to the North Rim. And then you go down, 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 down to the Red Wall Bridge, very aptly named. Then you take these escalators up to Supai, up to the top of that red rock where you go through Supai Tunnel. From Supai to the top of the North Rim of North Kaibab Trail is 2 miles. Doesn't seem like that much, but by the time you get up those escalators, you're pretty wiped out. My back has been spasming a bit. It was probably a bad idea to do this hike. But at this point, with a little bit less than 3 miles ahead, I need to finish it up. And it's a lesson learned. With Red Wall Bridge behind you, you can see the altitude you've gained. Supai Tunnel right ahead. 2 miles of trail to get to the trailhead. The hike is almost over. Here's Supai Tunnel. Unfortunately, they run about 4 teams of mules a day down to Supai. Fairly common to get caught behind one on the way. Oh, crimey, there's the mules. Damn. Oh, man. Speaking of bad luck, behind a team of mules. Crimey. Coconino Overlook is just 0.7 from the trailhead, has a spectacular view of the trail. Well worth the visit if you have the time or if you're on North Rim. I honestly don't know what this is, but it's well built. And when you hit it, you know you're almost done. You can bushwhack up to the campground through here. Going up to the parking lot this way, we are almost through. Woo! I've been hustling to stay ahead of the second team of mules. If you want to know what I think about mules, check out my Why I Hate Mules video. When you hit this pine tree in the middle of the trail, you're steps away from the trailhead. You've made it, you're done. In the beginning, I said rim to rim ages you 20 years. Take a look. Do I look 85? I feel it. It's been a good hike, educational hike. Probably pushed a little more than I should have. Probably hiked when my health wasn't the best. I need to get these back issues under control and get back hiking again. Life is short, time is limited. Let's get out there and do what we can while we can. Let's enjoy ourselves. I plan to hike as much as I can for as long as I can. Thanks for joining me, and thank you for watching.